Good evening. So, my plan for this evening is to try and test the Crispin API using Alba, which is one of Jeremy Miller's projects. The downside to doing this is that I thought that I'd seen a tweet the other day explaining that Alba now supported .NET Core, .NET Core 2, sorry. But unfortunately, I think I might have imagined that because it doesn't seem to. And oh hell, that music is loud. Sorry, Spotify's gone weird. Mind that. Yeah, so what I've done is I've taken the source of Alba and updated it to support .NET Core 2 on my machine. And I'm now trying to figure out why things don't work. So I have a single test here, which is using this Alba system under test for the startup object, which is my standard .NET Core startup. And then we're just doing a get to the toggles URL. We then just check the status code should be okay. We should have got a content type of application JSON, and the content should just be an empty JSON array. Now, as you can see, I get a lot of errors through this. Now, I'm not quite sure what's causing this, as routing does at least seem to work. Though MVC doesn't seem to be responding, or at least resolving any routes. So I'm vaguely wondering if it's something to do with references needing to be added. So essentially, I have a breakpoint inside this generic fallback method, which returns our not found. And if I go into the scratchpad and debug this test, let's go into presentation mode so people can actually see it. Right, so we create the system successfully. And you can see my startup is actually running. Both the configure services and configure run. And then if I hit F5 on this, some internal Alba stuff, and now we're in our context. But for some reason, MVC didn't respond, it didn't handle the routing. So what I'm going to do is inspect this context variable and see if I can figure out why it didn't. There was something missing from the request. Which is a really horrible window when in presentation mode. Right, so our request. Okay, let's have a look at the headers first. Headers. Host is correct. Path is correct, as far as I can tell. Don't think we need a protocol, maybe? And we have a get, which is correct as well. So, yeah, that looks fine at least. And body, nothing. If we just let that complete, and this will obviously fail because we're returning not found. But I also got not founds earlier, so I'm going to return something different. Let's do move permanently. Run the test again. Let's remove some of these breakpoints because we don't need all of them. Don't need that one. I wonder if this is actually or if it's something to do with this service provider running, if that's not getting used. See what happens with it. Oh, nothing that we... I wonder if there's a way of telling if that service provider's is being used. What do we have on these? Oh, okay, apparently it is. I guess. Right, so it's not the fact that the container's doing something weird, or at least it doesn't seem to be. And let's see, content root, that's correct. Well, that I don't care about. That'll do, I don't actually have any views or anything to load, so it doesn't matter. That's correct as well. So I switched on the development page just in the vague hope that that might give me some actual error messages. Apparently not. I don't really care about what this is doing, to be honest. Let's do that. Now, hopefully when we look at the tests, yep, 301, right. So this is at least running the things, it's just MVC not doing anything useful. Is there a way I can something to happen? VC. Like a on before request or something. See. The other option is if we run the REST API, just check that the assumption that hitting /toggles works as expected. We can do that using Rider's REST tester. Send a GET request. Wow. Let's remove that header. So the host /toggles is where we're going, and we're going to do a GET there. Yep. Okay, so it definitely seems to work, but for some reason doesn't work under testing. Supports attribute. Oh. Right, so what can we test next? Well, maybe it is something to do with routing. Can't find the controllers. And for reference to that, let's see if we can step into... Oh no, we proved that the service provider worked already. I wonder what that actually does. App use MVC. I wonder if I can grab the root builder and inspect that. Ah, there's a default root handler. I wonder if that's got a method that we can deal with. So if we something like instance MVC handler. No, nothing onto. That's a shame. So we add this, we can get the root builder. App user. Let's go. So it makes a router middleware. Can I set breakpoints on these? Not sure if this will work or not. But let's find out. The next thing we can try is to build a separate .NET Core 2 test app without MVC stuff in the way, and then just add one MVC standard controller without anything magical like structure map in the way, just to try and eliminate extra dependencies. Right, work. No, didn't hit that breakpoint. That's a shame. Unless I step into that, in which case that might do it. Oh, that's interesting. So it runs that bit now. Can't step any further than that. Can I get the middleware chain off this? Maybe. There's something here. Can't see what they are, but just switch out presentation mode for a bit so I can actually see what the inspection window is trying to show me. Right, so we have 3 components. All request delegates. What I want to do is try and work out if maybe Alba's adding a middleware too early, maybe, or too late in the chain, and so we're never getting to hit ASP. As I can't tell what these actually are. So, if we debugged running the rep server ourselves instead, we might be able to see the list of middlewares and see if there's a difference. Right, now let's have a look again. Nope, still 3 components. So that would indicate MVC is wiring up correctly. Structure map, service provider, properties, features. Lovely. Let's rerun the test again. Have another look at app. Yep, same thing. Right. Right, so we have host. We have our service provider here. Let's just check that that is the service provider we want it to be. Yep, that's our container. So we configure the scenario, which is fine. There's got to be something in here then, which we can't step into easily because Lazy and Riders Debugger does weird things. Control F12. Invoker. Oh, this. I wonder if it's something to do with this, because this is one of the things I had to change. Hey, Nuffly. Yeah, it's a Restful feature toggle service, as that says. And what I'm trying to do at the moment is write unit or write integration tests with a library which doesn't support .NET Core 2, and it's unsurprisingly not going well. So what I did is change this. This used to read type of web host, but web host is now internal, which means you can't just do type of web host anymore. I wonder, actually, if I could get the value a different way. Now, I believe you can do type.getType and then give it a type name. That. Now, well, I'm not going to recompile this yet. I will take a copy of that and run the debugger again. Step into this method and see if I get the same return value from this line as opposed to if I use my own version. And we should be able to go back into presentation mode because I'm not expecting huge lines of text anymore. Right, so I don't care about that. Care about that. Don't care about that. This we do care about. So if we get this field to do field get value for the host, we're definitely getting something back. Got this application field. Right, so let's have a look at that. And we've got our request delegate back. The question is, if we do that field application binding flags dot, oh great, I can't see. Oh no, good, no it doesn't. Make that mode, or at least non-public or flags dot stands. That's some great IntelliType right there. Cannot evaluate a security function. Interesting. Okay, so that clearly doesn't work as a way to get at the web host. Well, our invoker seems to return the right value at least. It's just not doing the right thing. I don't really know what else to try now. Oh, that's annoying. Because, I mean, annoyingly, it looks correct. Let's find my Alba changes. Have a look at what I've changed. I updated some versions of things. Fixed some headers, those should be fine. Change that type of web host to host.getType. And returns completed tasks. It's just expecting, so not expecting a task of any particular type, it's just expecting a task back now. Well, that's annoying. What I want to do is just step into the router and see what happens as it routes. Because there's got to be a reason why it's not picking up MVC properly. But as to why it isn't, no idea. Why is it just hitting my run method and not, I mean, if we look at the context again, request, I wonder if this is missing something which is causing it. Right, path is correct, path base is correct. Protocol It could be, I guess. Scheme is fine. Query string is fine. Query is fine. I wonder if it is that protocol. That's what we host on, hosting it manually, so. Don't mind the body because we're not actually reading it for anything. Don't care about cookies or forms or anything like that. Oh, it's the same request. Wonder, let's rerun the application ourselves. And she'll do. Hit the wrong button. Stop, I want to debug, not just run. Write a keybind for that. Right, so what we'll do is we'll hit a non-existing URL so we still hit the same breakpoint. Let those run first. And then whatever the protocol is, we'll just do the same thing. Right. Context dot request. And protocol is HTTP 1.1. I wonder if that will make the difference. Can I modify that? I want to copy it. Copy name, copy value. Right. Now we have that as a hint. I mean, MVC might be filtering on the content type, or the protocol, I guess. It's possible. Where is our test? Right. Can I specify it in here somewhere? Well, if I put the cursor in the right place, that would probably help for a start. Oh, I remember. The get object returns things. I want to specify the protocol. Accepts content type. Okay, maybe it's on here. If not, we can step in and manually set it. Hey, faded edits. How are you? Let's try on the context. No. West. Yeah, let's see if that works. I'm alright, just having a little fight with .NET Core 2 versus .NET Core 1 incompatibilities. Not entirely how I intended to spend the evening, but not altogether unsurprising. Right. So I was playing around with this earlier, and I would not believe how much slower OBS makes this. I'm beginning to think that I might try and use a capture card. Try and just capture on another machine so that I don't have to mess about with OBS running in the background. No, okay, protocol didn't help. Unless the protocol didn't maintain Damn. Right, on to the next idea then. Right. What is that? Nothing I care about. Services. Okay. Right, so we have this request. Oh yes, scrolling left and right minimises everything, just what I wanted. Right, next, is there a header we need to set? Like an accept header, perhaps? Huh, that sounds quite fun. All the episodes. Hmm. Uh, is there anything else? As long as it's fun and not illegal. I don't want takedown requests coming towards you. That's never fun. Right. What am I gonna do? I suppose we could double check that the path is correct and running it manually doesn't give us a different path. But that doesn't seem like it's going to be the problem, but it could be. Completion. Right, rerun that. Oh, apparently I left that running. Oh, go away. Yes, stop. API documentation is never fun, no matter what you're trying to do. Right, let's use the REST client again. And we're sure again, it's a really crappy request. Let's remove all the headers. Empty request get to local path, something that doesn't exist. Protocol exception, that's interesting. I wonder if that... With the default headers. Sure there was a reset to default headers. Oh well. It was accept. It had something like // in it. And protocol exception. Oh, I don't know what that is. What are we listening on? 5,000. Yeah, got the right port. Port, right. Don't want any of that really. Stop and run that. Ah, it's not debugging. That would explain that. Ah, one of those days where all the tooling is going to fight me, isn't it? Right, that's better. And now we'll hit that. Do Alt F8 to inspect. Request. Right. Those are the same. They were null before, they're null afterwards. Don't know what that is and don't really care. Headers. Accept header. Path base is blank. I wonder if it's something to do with path base. What happens if that? Why did I stop that from debugging? Right, this one should work. Yep. So now if we go to the toggle controller, let's follow this. Now, there is a property on here, if I remember rightly. Context. Request? Yes, that's what we're after. So this is a valid request that has hit the controller. So, yeah, this path string is blank. I wonder if there's something adding the path base and the path string together. And by it having a slash and slash toggles, that's making some weird route that MVC is not recognizing. Let's see what we can do about that. Right, go back into our test. Now I'm going to put this after that. I don't know if that's doing anything like overwriting the request. We'll do context request path base. Yes, that's the path base. New path string. Okay, let's try that. Let's just run the test rather than debug it. Might be a bit quicker. Is that building things such a small piece of text when you're in presentation mode? Right, save that. No. Oh, running. Thought it would be finished. Come on, work. Please? God damn it. Right, let's debug it. And we'll check if that setting of the path string like that actually made it through to the handler. Right, F5 there, and there. Right. Let's have a look at our property again. Request. Path base, right. So that made it through correctly. Now, let's try the next thing, which is to just step into all of this stuff and just keep going until we find an implementation of something. Right. So we get a router. Then we configure routes on the route builder. Configure routes as our external thing. Create an attribute mega route. Nice. Builder, build. Right, let's see what that does. Is this yeah, that's the route builder. So we turn a route collection. What I'm after is hopefully there's a request coming in at some point. Virtual path. I wonder if it's something to do with virtual paths. Normal virtual path. Sure options. This is not doing what I was hoping. Add a route collection, which is a router, so you can add routers to route collections. Okay, so that's some kind of tree structure. So we have this use router, which I assume is going to add a middleware of some form. Yep, router middleware. Use router middleware, passing in the router that has been built. Here is router middleware, which I've already got breakpoints on and it's just not being hit. Unless there's some kind of logger we can push onto the output of the tests. Let's just write as log file. Right, so when given an HTTP context, find routers and find a handler. Call the next thing in the chain. I'd love to be able to step into this, but I don't quite know where I'd want to have to set a breakpoint to do it. Feature. Let's rerun our test. No, we do actually have a console and debug output. Right, let's see if we got anything useful in the outputs of these. No. That's not what I expected it to do. Ooh, I wonder. Can I get at that route door? So we have this router middleware, and it gets an HTTP context, and we have an HTTP context. But where is that router middleware dumped? And do I have access to something that can do it? No, don't have access to the app. What is on the context? I have this feature. Now, one of the things it was checking for was a router feature. But we don't have a router feature. REST services, what do we have in here? Nothing we particularly want. And part of me thinks I have broken something within Alba, which is entirely likely, or that an upgrade is not as straightforward as hopeful. I'm sure it's something on that HTTP request. MVC will be filtering for something or looking for some property on the router which just isn't there. We get a root context there. Add this route. No, I can't get at that anymore. Unless I can. What happens if I ask for that from the container? Next dot. Sure, there was a container on this somewhere. West services. Yes. iRouter. Let's just see if we can get at the container. Yes, we can. Now, what was the thing just in here? Just an iRouter. Okay, let's try that. Get instance. iRouter. Okay, what namespace is router from? Something just hidden. Microsoft.ASP.NET. What? Dot something. Routing. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Routing.iRouter. Okay, not something that I can just create off the bat then. Right, so this is how it routes. We get a tree router, whatever that might be, and we call root async on that. So let's see what a tree router does. Root ace. Match case, don't match case. There we go. Iterate through things. I'm just looking to see if there's something obvious, like a path that's missing, or a protocol, or something. Now, scrolling left and right moves the cursor. That's not useful. It's just using HTTP context request path. Text root data. No, it's all down to. Oh, don't do that. That. Request path. Context into a matcher. Constraint matcher. Okay, let's see what that does. Throws errors, possibly. If there's no constraints, that's fine. Otherwise, iterate the constraints and check if the incoming request is valid against them. I don't have any constraints on any of my routes. And there isn't any parameters anyway on that first route. Well, this is depressing. Right, let's do this. Let's truly break everything. Do that. And we shall remove that, make it void. And we don't have to return anything. And we'll go to our toggle controller. And just make that parameterless. So I'm just trying to rule out whether structure map or something is causing issues. Like, I don't think it is, but it's one more thing to try and rule out. Now, this means that we will get exceptions when that controller method is hit. Might also get exceptions from other controllers trying to be built. Just wait for this to finish building. Of course, there's nothing stopping us writing all of our Alba tests and just I'm going to probably raise a pull request with the code that I've changed to make this compile at least for .NET Core 2. But yeah, we could write the test then. I'll raise a pull request with the notes that it doesn't work for MVC. Try and see how to go forward with that, because not only does it not work with MVC, as my changes are not exactly back compatible. Because by targeting .NET Core 2, you can't use the hosting interfaces that .NET Core 1 has. So I'm not quite sure how you support both, because the interfaces have got some extra members, and in some cases the methods have changed from like start to start async, which then takes cancellation tokens and other kinds of things in it. Right, let's rerun our test and see if it attempts to create the controller. Right, let's just grab the toggle controller a second. And we'll stick a breakpoint here because I want to see if it even attempts to make that. Nope, doesn't even try. Right, that kind of indicates that it's not structure map or any of my random other setup code that's causing the problem. It is something to do with routing. Again. Let's step to that. Now it was an Alba. Oh, that's not going to work. Hmm. Right, let's step into this instead. Get. So we are setting up a request. HTTP context. Step through these. Right. Have anything in here? Nope. It's the path we're expecting. Now that type, that is a stub HTTP context. Stub HTTP. Right, let's do this. File. Open. Alba. Window. Stub HTTP context. Watch this. Is this? You don't know. We're none of us know. Just trying to see if there's anything obvious on here that's not going to do what we want. Oh, go away. Stop session. Trace identifier. To do. No. No. I wonder what would happen if we cleared that out and just didn't know, because it had that even when we ran under the web server. Now, this won't work because I spent too long doing it, I think. Maybe. So yeah, it doesn't matter how much I tell Ryder to step in, it's just not doing anything. Arse. I can't think of anything else to try at the moment. Scenario context. HTTP context. So, scenario. Oh, so that's just the underscore thing. Okay, let's have a look at what a scenario is. Create context. Okay. I still think I've done something wrong here. But at the same time, would have not returned anything here. and thus wouldn't have hit the MBC pipeline at all. How do I enable more debug output? Oh, not in here. Scratch pad. Let's see what we can do with system. What can we pass in here? New default HTTP context. Wait. Probably. Do that. West. Path. Toggles. Okay, let's see what that does. I mean, probably blow up with some horrible error, but maybe this will tell us if the Alba context is at fault versus the default context, or if it's something else. I mean, that's all debugging things like this is. It's just trying to keep ruling out different things until whatever's left must be the cause of the problem. Or there's more things to discover. But if this doesn't work, I will stop here for this evening and probably knock a couple of test apps together and see if I can reproduce the errors some other way. Like without having to have this whole application. Just one little test app. Test apps are useful. Right. Well, that's things. Interesting. So even with the default context, we still don't hit anything else. Let's put these back actually. That was an iService provider, and the toggle controller took in a mediator. And Jeremy, if you're watching, it's not like I'm about to ask you a mediator question at least. I'll any slower. I wonder if part of the speed issue is because I record these sessions using OBS as well as stream them, so it's thrashing my hard disk as well. Although it is meant to be some fancy SSD thing. Debug. doesn't even try. Request. Maybe I should add the accept header. I don't think that would make much of a difference, but as we've now just proved, that breaks just as much as this. Dot accept. Saw an accepts thing somewhere. Maybe it was on this. Yep, accepts. And the REST client sends that, so we're going to send that. I'm just going to run now. Come on. Stop thinking about it and just run. What is it doing? There we go. Go on, work. That would be nice. No, still hit that. Handler. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, I'm gonna put together a small proof of concept for Alba and hope that I can reproduce the error. But I think that'll do for this evening. Yeah, sorry I didn't actually manage to write any tests because I was quite looking forward to these because, you know, each of these scenarios is quite a nice setup. It's one of the main reasons I want to test for this because writing integration tests are not fun. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Sorry we didn't get anything fun done, but you did get to watch me bash my head against debugging for a while. And see you tomorrow, I guess.